Elections bill has been making its way through Parliament. Got to ask though, did you know much about this? Because not many people seem to have. Last night it finally passed the laws, which basically means it's going to become law as soon as it gets royal assent. In this bill were things like mandatory voter ID, so you can't just rock up at the voting station now and say that you are who you make out you are. No, you've got to have some form of ID. And there's also some changes that some people are saying basically mean that the Electoral Commission is no longer as independent as it ought to be. Ben Habib, your thoughts on some of these things?
Well, I think the Electoral Commission is anything other than an independent regulatory body. You'll remember, Michelle, from your Brexit Party days, in the short space of 9 months, we fought 2 general elections. And actually, the Electoral Commission breathed down our neck like no other entity could possibly have done so. It was actually stifling democracy. It was looking at everything we were doing down to the minutest detail. And actually, our finances were tickety-boo. They were absolutely clean. And even though they made our lives incredibly difficult, they found nothing. And yet they allow the 2 major parties to get away with all sorts of peculiar donations from Russians and, in the case of the Labour Party, Momentum effectively flooding the Labour Party with its membership and therefore controlling the agenda. Now, the Electoral Commission, which is one of Tony Blair's bequests to the British nation, the Electoral Commission is just another quango regulatory body which allows the 2 main parties, the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, to effectively ping-pong between themselves, trying to stuff it full of their own cronies like they do all the other institutions that govern us, and trying to sway the debate in their favour. The Electoral Commission does not protect democracy. It stands in the way of democracy. And actually what we ought to do is not reform it. We ought to ditch the Electoral Commission and simply rely on the fact that it's illegal for parties to take finances from dodgy people and to take finances in particular ways that can be statutorily barred.